All right, I'm pretty sure I figured out what the problem was there. I think that was all me, and I think we're going to be able to get this thing back up and running. That was, I apologize. Was in the middle of a heartfelt, truly sincere thank you to the people who support the show. And again, you can support the show down there. I won't go back into that. If you were here, you were listening, you heard it. The show needs your support. Appreciate it. We've been having some internet issues. I don't know why this has been happening. It's only the 3rd of the month. That has nothing to do with it. I'm kidding. That has nothing to do with it. That aspect is taken care of. Okay, let's see. Boy, I'm worried that we're going to have more wiggy situations going on here. You know what? I'm just going to barrel through because that's what a semi-professional does, and that's what I am. All right, welcome to the High Noon Show. This is a show we do every day at noon. I don't have to re-say it because everybody that was here before is here now. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Byron. Cotter, I don't get the Cotter reference. Byron, what's the Cotter reference? I don't know that I get it. You're going to have to help me out with that. Oh, welcome back. Oh, my God. I get it. Hi, April. All right. People are starting to come back into I understand what an inconvenience that is. I mean, you're here, you set it all up, you get ready, you start to prepare to listen to all the day's news and headlines and all that stuff being discussed. And then boom. Hey, Michael, what's up, pal? Yeah. So restart, take 2. We're going to get ready to go here. All right, let's start with the show. We'll start with, like I said, the Ukraine war thing that we've been covering pretty heavily over the past week. There's stuff happening, but how much can we talk about? You know what I'm saying? It's just, there's nothing. The Russian army seems to be stalled. That 40-mile long convoy, has stalled on the outskirts of Kyiv. They've taken the city of Kharkiv. I think they've taken the city of Kharkov. Talks are currently going on. They're not going well. All reports say bleh. So anything that's truly crucial that is happening, any developments in the war, we'll break in from our normally formatted show and we'll cover it. But short of there being like big incidents occurring, we're just going to keep moving on with our own show, and it's just something that's happening in the world, and we don't need to dedicate all that much time to it. Certainly not like we did in the first couple of days. Okay, it is March 3rd. It's the 62nd day of the year, the 63rd day in leap year terms. If we celebrate leap year, I don't know if we do. 303 days remain until the end of the year. When is leap year? Is every 4 years, right? So where are we in that process? Is it like leap year next year? Is it leap year in 3? I don't know. Did we have a leap year last year? I have no idea. I always like when people say, my birthday's on leap year, so I'm only 5. What? What do you mean you're only 5? My birthday's on leap year. I'm only 10. What? Huh? Let's see here. What happened on this? Oh, you know what? No. We're going to start with the moment of joy. That's right. No, not the moment of joy. We start with what today is. See, I had to restart the show, and now I got all discombobulated as far as what it is that we're doing and what the rundown is, because I had to reboot my rundown sheet, which I'm doing right now because I didn't do that in my haste to get back on the air. First thing we do is what is today? What is today the day of? And we used to do this further down in the rundown, but I kept missing it. I kept skipping over it because there was stuff I wanted to get to. So there you go. It's National Hospitalist Day. I don't know. What is a hospitalist? Is a hospitalist like the people who harass you for a $10 can of soda after your hospital stay? National Hospitalist Day recognizes the contributions of more than 60,000 hospitalists nationwide on the first Thursday in March annually. Hospital medicine is one of the fastest growing specialties in modern medicine, and those who practice it are known as hospitalists. Hospitalists manage patient care throughout their inpatient stay and have been proven to reduce readmit. Okay. All right. I don't know what this is. To all the hospitalists out there, you're doing God's work. I don't know. Okay, good for them. Good for them. It's National Anthem Day. National Anthem Day. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Self-explanatory. Who was it? There was somebody recently who didn't know, who got the words to the national anthem wrong, and he got totally slammed for it. I can't. Oh, say, can you see me? Oh, there's another verse. Whatever. It's National Anthem Day. I don't remember who it was. It was somebody who screwed up on that, like, second to last. Michael Flynn. That's who it was. No, it wasn't the national anthem. No, I'm sorry. It was not the national anthem that he screwed up. That's even harder than the thing that he screwed up. He screwed up the Pledge of Allegiance. He got up in front of a big crowd of crazy QAnon people and made them all recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and he got it wrong. How does a general get the Pledge of Allegiance wrong? It's National Cold Cuts Day, so head on down to your deli and get yourself some cold cuts. Cold cut draft. Corned beef in the first round. Pastrami in the second round. Roast beef in the third round. Polish ham in the fourth round. And, ooh, man. Oh, is it salami or is it turkey? Is it salami or is it turkey? It's turkey, because you can use turkey with everything. All right, there you go. There's your cold cuts draft. Happy Cold Cuts Day. That's what today is. Let's see what else. National I Want You to Be Happy Day. Why isn't that why don't you want people to be happy every day? Why isn't every day National I Want You to Be Happy Day? National Mulled Wine Day. What the hell is mulled wine? Mulled wine. March 3rd is mulled wine. I mean, I've heard that expression, that phrase. I've seen those two words together before. I don't know what it means. National Mulled Wine Day warms us up with fruit, spices, and wine in the lingering days of winter. Oh, I guess mulled wine is hot wine. Oh, are you people out your minds? Oh my God, that is awesome. National Soup It Forward Day. What is National Soup It Forward Day? These are stupid days. These aren't. National Anthem Day is real. Okay, I get that. I get you have one day where you really pay attention to the anthem. National Soup It Forward Day, March 3rd, encourages us to deliver love and kindness by the bowlful. We all know a warm cup of kindness comes in many forms. When I make a pot of soup, it is nearly always enough to feed an army. Those time-worn recipes grow. Okay, stop it. My mom makes good soup. I'd like some of my mom's soup. I'll get it. Someday I'll get some of my mom's soup. My mom makes all kinds of different soups. They're always good. All right, let's jump into what is happening today. Oh, wait, first I'll jump in. Okay, yeah, people are telling me that mulled wine is hot and spiced wine. Adam says national days used to be created by Congress through bills, and they bogged down Congress so much that they banned them in the 80s. All right. Some hot takes on General Michael Flynn. General Michael Flynn, no comment on him, other than I don't trust anybody who's aligned with QAnon. I first became aware of him in the Netflix Brad Pitt movie War Machine. I don't know if you've ever seen it. War Machine is a good movie. It's the story of what got, was it Petraeus, General Petraeus in trouble? And Brad Pitt plays General Petraeus, and Michael Anthony Hall. Remember Farmer Ted from 16 Candles? Farmer Ted plays Michael Flynn, who was at the time, he was like Petraeus's right-hand guy. And this was before 2016. This was before like Michael Flynn became more of a household name. And I remember seeing him in this movie and just thinking, well, maybe it wasn't before 2016, maybe it was right around that time. But I remember really seeing Michael Anthony Hall's portrayal of this guy in the movie, and I was like, wow, that guy's a lunatic. That guy is. Meanwhile, Brad Pitt's portrayal of General Petraeus was very honorable. That was a good movie. I like the movie War Machine, but it sure as hell doesn't make Michael Flynn look good. Makes him look like a bit of a loose cannon, which, I don't know, depending, I guess, on how you've been indoctrinated to see the world is a point. I don't know. All right, let's get into our moment of joy too. This is a good one. This is a bit of a moment of joy for me. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah, we'll pull this up. All right, here, let me get this here. No thanks, WFAA. I don't want. All right, here's your moment of joy. And of course, it's not loading. That's unfortunate. We may not have our moment of joy now. We may not have our moment of joy. Apparently, the internet is not going to be agreeing with me today. Oh, that's okay. It was a stupid moment of joy anyway. Oh, boy. Hold on. Give me a second here. You know what? Let's just try it this way. There's ways around this stuff. There are ways around. Here we go. Nope, that's not going to do it. Yeah, it's not coming up. We're not going to be able to do this. This sucks. All right, moving on. Let's see here. What happened today? On this day in 1913, March 3rd. Why is March 3rd so memorable? On this day in 1913, thousands of women march in the women's suffrage procession in Washington, D.C. That was in 1913. I think that's when they wore all white. Remember that? Remember when they wore all white? That was a thing. And then and now women wearing white is the symbol for women's suffrage. Okay, so that was on this day in 1913. On this day in 1938, oil is first discovered in Saudi Arabia, and the world has known nothing but peace ever since. 1938, that struck me as odd. I just kind of figured that they always knew they had oil there. So it was like before 1937, it's just a really hot desert kind of wasteland moonscape that, like, there's no reason to be there. And then 1938, there's more rich dudes than ever before. A bunch of guys who a year earlier were just herding sheep now have 20,000 square foot guest houses. On this day in 1951, Jackie Brenston, along with Ike Turner and his band, records the song Rocket 88, which is often cited as the first rock and roll record. They recorded this at Sam Phillips Recording Studio in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, it says here it's often cited as the first ever rock and roll album. However, that is not true. That is absolutely not true. It is only recently that people have gone, yeah, Rocket 88 by Jackie Brenston is probably the first rock and roll song that was recorded and then became something that people liked on the radio. Until before this, before Rocket 88, the song that was most commonly associated with the first rock and roll song was Bill Haley and the Comets' Rock and Roll Around the Clock. The early episodes of Happy Days use this 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. That was the story that we were given for about the first 40 years of rock and roll. Why? Because he was a white guy. That is really it. He was a white guy. And he did that song. And then, rock and roll historians in the 70s started to just put that one forward as the first rock and roll song because Jackie Brenston's Rocket 88 with Ike Turner was considered black music at the time, even though it didn't fit into what was traditionally at the time considered soul or blues music. It was definitely a new kind of music, but they just overlooked it because it was a black band. And you can't have black guys being the inventors of rock and roll. You can't have them being the first. But now, luckily, it is looking like Rocket 88 is becoming more and more widely accepted as the original rock and roll song. How's that song go? We should know. I should know that. Rocket 88. I don't. Something like that. It's something like that. I don't see. Look at that. I was born. I'm a child of my era. I know 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock rock. And until about 10 years ago, if there was a trivia contest, I'd have said that's the first rock and roll song because that's what was generally accepted. And then it changed to Rocket 88. Ike Turner, look at that. Ike Turner leading the band on what is widely considered to be the first rock and roll song of all time. That was on this day in 1951. Oh, Byron, you've been to the Sun Studios? Man, I wanted to go to the Sun Studios and take the Sun Studios tour, but I had my kid with me, and the choice was we could only do one thing, right? I wanted to do the Sun Studios tour, but I didn't even offer that as a choice because I figured my kid totally wouldn't get. My kid was like 10 years old at the time. He wasn't going to be impressed with that. So I asked my kid, we're in Memphis. I'm like, all right, we got one day. We can do one cool ass Memphis thing. What do you want to do? Do you want to go see Elvis Presley's house? It was between Graceland and the Civil Rights Museum where Martin Luther King got killed. The hotel there, the Lorraine Hotel. And my kid said, I want to go to the Civil Rights Museum. And I was like, okay, honestly, your dad's banned for life from Graceland. So I don't want to test to see if they remember that they banned me for life from Graceland 25 years ago. So he chose the Civil Rights Museum, which was fantastic because it was literally across the street from the hotel that we were at. So I didn't have to drive into Memphis. I didn't have to risk being embarrassed. Hey, you're the guy that jumped into the swimming pool in 1995. And I'd be like, oh, son, your dad has a history. So we ended up going to the Lorraine Hotel, the National Civil Rights Museum. And he enjoyed it. He still talks about it. A lot of cool pictures on my Facebook page of my kid there. Probably better for his ongoing education anyways. I just feel like that's more steeped in American history. My kid doesn't need to know about Elvis. My kid needs to know that Elvis was a thing. Elvis was the king of rock and roll in his day. He was very big, but he never wrote a song and he never played a guitar. What are you saying? You got very few listeners. Some of them might be Elvis fans, and you're shitting on the king. I told you, I'm banned for life from his house. Me and the king got history, and I may be a little biased. On this day in 1991, and speaking of the National Civil Rights Museum, okay, on this day in 1991, an amateur video captures the beating of Rodney King by Los Angeles police officers, which started off the Los Angeles riots. That video was crazy. Think about it. It's 1991. It's not weird to think that, anything like that could be captured today. I mean, we see it all the time. But in 1991, we didn't have cell phones yet. We didn't. We had phones were still attached to the wall in 1991. So they didn't have video cameras. And if you had a video camera, you had something that was a fairly sizable investment. I mean, not crazy expensive. Families, when they had babies, started to get, video cameras for what do they call shower gifts and stuff. So they were around, but they weren't. Every house in America didn't have a video camera. And it just so happens that some dude on a balcony in his apartment saw what was going on and started to film it. Is that the first viral video? I mean, before we really had the means to go truly viral. There was no internet. 1991. You know who had internet? NASA had the internet. The Justice or the Defense Department maybe had some kind of internet. But 1991, there wasn't like people were connected to the internet, and everybody saw that video. On this day in 1991. Let's see here. On this day in 2017, well, not much happened between 1991 and 2017. On this day in 2017, the Nintendo Switch was released worldwide. Changed kids' lives. My kid loves the Switch. He just or loved the Switch. I don't know. I don't keep up on gaming. I don't know if he still plays with it. I don't know. I remember the Game Boy, right? I mean, I remember Nintendo football with a little handheld thing where there were just little dashes and dots, and you'd march them up and down the field. If you had the white one, the Mattel, if you had the white Mattel one, then you weren't cool. But if you had the green one, if you had the one that was green, that meant that your dad got a promotion, or that meant that, you got a really good Christmas present, because they were different. The white one couldn't do, I don't think the white one could pass. And I think the green one could pass. I don't know. It was different. I was a spoiled little brat, and my mom got me just about everything to keep me competitive with the kids. I had the green one. I was very proud of that. It's my green one. I got a green one. Let's see here. On this day, birthdays, celebrating a birthday. Let me move this back so I don't spill nothing. I am freakily staring at this stream, making sure that we're still on, because I'm afraid. Al says, I remember the white Mattel football game. Jeff says they also had basketball. That was Coleco football. Now it was Mattel. It was Mattel. I know it's Mattel. It might not be Nintendo, but did Nintendo and Mattel become the same? I don't know. I know it was Mattel. The guy that shot the video died last year, Mike says. The guy who shot the Rodney King video. Whoa. Adam Reyna, quoting Public Enemy, quoting Chuck D. Elvis was a hero the most, but he never meant shit to me. Straight up racist. Now I'm going to... What, you want me to start doing Public Enemy lyrics? I can do that if I have to. Public Enemy, one of the first hip hop bands I embraced. I embraced Public Enemy, and that was pretty much it for about 20 years. There was Public Enemy, there was De La Soul, there was I liked some of the trip hop stuff. Yeah, and then it wasn't until like 2000 when I started to get back into like Dre and stuff through my buddy who's dead, my buddy Gary, who was he ran a music studio in Chicago, and he was this white blues guy in his 50s who his primary clientele were hip hop acts from the south side of Chicago. Like, he had big ones too. He had people who were signed. He was really good. So hanging out with him, you'd walk into his studio and it would either be Santana and Yes, or some really hardcore south side of Chicago new street hip hop. That's someone who's open-minded about music. That's somebody who's... Gary's dead. God bless Gary. I loved Gary. Gary was one of my best friends. When I just needed somewhere to go, I would just go to a studio. I would just go hang out in his music studio, and I would sit on the couch and I would read his collection of Rolling Stone magazines, and I would maybe just open up my laptop and just start playing on my laptop, and I just watch these kids come in and out. These scary kids, I'm a middle-aged white guy. These were some legit hip hop guys, and they all loved Gary. They all loved Gary. Man, that white guy's crazy. You going to Blue Heron? You going with that crazy old white guy? He's awesome. Gary's awesome. Gary died. Gary died tragically. Miss Gary. My son still asks about Gary. My kid loved Gary. My kid, we go to the studio and hang out. I go, yeah, we can go to the studio and hang out. He used to play games over there and stuff. And then Gary would put him on the microphone, and he'd be like 8 years old. He'd be spitting hot fire. All right. So I don't know how we got onto that. Jackie Joyner Kersey was born on this day. That's another one who's tragically dead. Jackie Joyner Kersey. How did she die? Wait, is she dead? Maybe she's not dead. Maybe she's not dead. Maybe Jackie Joyner Kersey is not dead. She is dead. Not going to say that I'm happy I was right. I'm happy that I still have the faculties to remember people who are dead. Also, slightly happy that I didn't confuse her with Florence Griffith Joyner, who was her sister in law, who I often got confused and who is also dead. Jackie Joyner Kersey would have been 62. She would have been 60 years old today. She would have been 60 years old. One of the great American track and field stars of all time. How did she die? How did Jackie Joyner Kersey die? Doesn't say. Well, damn, she's got a list of world records, current world records, and personal bests and all that stuff. Let's see here. Jackie's brother is the Olympic champion triple jumper Al Joyner, who was married to Olympic track champion Flojo, Florence Griffith Joyner. Let's see here. Doesn't say how she died. Doesn't say how she died. Maybe it does up here at the top. Oh, she's not dead. Never mind. I was wrong. It is Florence Griffith Joyner. Well, that'll do it. That'll explain why there is no column for why Jackie Joyner Kersey doesn't have a cause of death, because she's not dead. And I did confuse her with Florence Griffith Joyner, except I knew Florence Griffith Joyner was dead. Folks, it's been a rough couple of days for me. I apologize. Happy birthday, Jackie Joyner Kersey. I am so pleased to hear you're still alive. I mean, I don't know you. You're just another human being who I thought was dead, and now I learned that you're alive, so I guess I'm happy about that. Born on this day in 1962, also would be, 60 years old today? Yeah, is that right? 40, 50? Yeah, of course. Simple math. I'm telling you, it's been a heavy couple of days, folks. Internet problems. Herschel Walker was born on this day. Current Senate candidate. If not for Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker might be one of the greatest college football running backs I have ever seen. Man, if you're old enough to remember when Herschel Walker was playing college football there at Georgia, he was incredible. What was he before Bo? I think he was like before Bo, and the whole world was talking about Herschel Walker. And it was like, there will never be another college football running back quite like Herschel Walker. And then like a year later, there will never be another quite like Bo Jackson. If we're having the argument, if we're going to have the debate, I mean, I don't even think it's close. I think that Herschel Walker was like an amazing running back. He was so good. But Bo Jackson was different. Bo Jackson at Auburn was just different. Let's see here. Born on this day in 1970. Oh, isn't she America's sweetheart? Could she be considered America's mom? Maybe. Julie Bowen, actress Julie Bowen. She did a bunch of movies in the 90s where she was the cute young. She always played the girlfriend of the big star. That's like a whole zone. That's a whole lane for actresses in the 90s in movies. It would be big movie star guy like Adam Sandler starring in, and then every movie he just had like some really attractive girlfriend who was put off by his antics but somehow stayed with him. That was like the lane, and they were a different girl in every movie. Julie Bowen got to play that role in a couple of different movies. She was the girlfriend. And then she went on to Married with Children, where she became Claire, and the rest is history. Now she's awesome. Born on this day in 1974, David Faustino, Bud Bundy. Bud Bundy celebrating a birthday. Born on this day in 1982, just another fabulously attractive young lady, still a young lady, 1982. Jessica Biel, 40 years old today. Jessica Biel. Let's see here. You know what? Here's the thing. Deaths. There were no deaths that I thought were worth mentioning, which is good. This is not a sad day where we remember the loss of certain people who were beloved. So that's good. So no real good deaths. Oh, also, I'll note this. There were a crap ton of plane crashes today. a crap ton. There was like 5 plane crashes between like 1950 and 1990. I'm not doing that anymore. We did that for a while. It was fun. The bit ran its purpose. I looked at the list of plane crashes and I said, what is the reason that I'm putting this out here? Why am I putting this information out? This is not something people need to know about. All this is dark negative energy. Oh geez, you're gonna start talking about energy. I believe in energy. I believe in putting things out. I'm not talking about vibes, babe. I'm not talking about that. I'm not being hippy dippy. I'm just talking about we all forget it. I don't want to go into it. All right, let's see. Let's get into the things that are trending, the big stories, at least the ones that I found to be important. Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family, they're trending today. Very big. This is wow, are people going good? And I'm going, boo, boo. Purdue Pharma has agreed to pay more in their opioid settlement. Now, the opioid crisis in America was terrible. Remember when we used to talk about it all the time? It was a big deal, and then we totally fixed it, and now there is no opioid crisis in America anymore. That's not true. It's still just as bad. You know, the other thing that's interesting about the opioid crisis is that it wasn't a global phenomenon. It wasn't something that people in France were falling victim to. It wasn't something that people in Greece were falling. It's not. The opioid crisis is a purely American thing, and it's because the pharmaceutical companies. You can trace it all the way back to when Congress decided, hey, people who make pills should be able to make pills seem really cool in TV commercials. Ask your doctor. I keep going back to those are the 3 most insidious words in American advertising history. Ask your doctor. Because, see, what would happen is doctors ethically couldn't say, well, you need this high grade of painkiller. Couldn't do that ethically because they didn't really need that high grade of painkiller. But the pharmaceutical companies would say, hey, if you give out this many pills, we'll take you to Cancun on an all expense. There were benefits given out by pharma reps to doctors who moved the most products. Now, remember, ethically, the doctors couldn't go, they couldn't push the drugs. They couldn't be like, however, if a patient came in and said, hey, I really think I want this, then the doctor was ethically relieved of any burden or moral problem, although ambiguity, it was morally ambiguous. So at that point, when the people came in and said, hey, I saw this commercial and I want this stuff called, at that point, the doctor can say, well, my patient asked for it and who am I to tell him? So, and that all came from ask your doctor about. That was done purposely to get your doctor who maybe didn't morally really want to prescribe it, to prescribe it. It relieved him of any guilt because you came in and asked your doctor. Seriously, that is the worst. And that's why we have an opioid crisis in America because what, did you watch Dope Sick and now you're an expert? I did watch Dope Sick, but also I did a whole bunch of research after watching Dope Sick, and I learned a whole lot about this nasty, nasty world. And Purdue Pharma is right at the center of it. Now, who runs Purdue Pharma? The Sackler family, a family worth $13 billion. They have wreaked more havoc on the American middle class. They have destroyed entire generations of families with the whole ask your doctor. And by the way, it's not addictive. This OxyContin that we've created, it's a painkiller. You can take as much as you want and you won't get addicted to it. And then the scientists at Sackler were like, that's not entirely true. It's actually highly addictive. I didn't hear what you said. I'm going to keep saying that it's not addictive. And that's what happened. The pharmaceuticals brands, Purdue Pharma, specifically when it comes to OxyContin, just told all the doctors that, well, our research says this is a breakthrough drug. It's a heavy painkiller that people with chronic pain can take their entire life, and it's not addictive, and you can wean them down with smaller doses, and then they'll have no more pain, and it's a beautiful thing. Came from Jesus himself. That was the argument, and it wasn't true. And now we know that Purdue Pharma made a big cash grab at the expense of innocent people who are now junkies because they asked their doctor. And the doctor was fed a bunch of bullshit from the pharmacy company. All right, so that's the background. Purdue Pharma, U.S. states agreed to new opioid settlements. OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma reached a settlement Thursday over its role in the nation's deadly opioid crisis. Oh, you mean the leading role? That includes virtually all U.S. states and thousands of local governments, with the Sackler family, members who own the company, boosting their cash contribution to as much as $6 billion. Now, the reason I told you that the Sackler family is worth $13 billion is to drive home the point that anybody that tells you, oh, the Sackler family is being destroyed, they have $7 billion left. They're not being destroyed. They've paid no price. There is no difference in your type, your ability to live the life you want to live between 13 and $7 billion. If you have $1 billion, you can do whatever you want for the rest of your life. $1 billion is, unless you're just a crazy person who wants to own 300 Lear jets and you want to buy 20 islands in the Caribbean. Okay, so now you're being a moron. But if you've got $13 billion and then you suddenly only have $7 billion, you're not cutting back. You're not having a family meeting to decide whether you watch Hulu or Netflix more because one of them's got to go. That is not. I hate the Sackler family. I hate them. The deal follows an earlier settlement that had been appealed by 8 states in the District of Columbia. They agreed to sign on after the Sacklers kicked in more cash, including a portion that just those jurisdictions would control. And they accepted other terms, including apologizing. Oh, the Sackler family, they have to apologize? Oh, well, that's different. In exchange, the family would be protected from civil lawsuits. So, you can't go after the Sackler. So they're protecting their bottom line. They're still going to be a family worth $7 billion. In all, the plan could be worth more than $10 billion. Oh, you mean they're only going to be worth $3 billion if absolutely everything goes, whenever it says in all the plan could be, it's never the case. If you've ever had a contract negotiation where there were incentives in there where they're like, this could be worth, it's never worth what that's. In all, the plan could be worth more than $10 billion over time. It calls for members of the Sackler family to give up control of the Stamford, Connecticut-based company so it can be turned into a new entity with profits used to fight the crisis. Well, what if that new entity doesn't make any profits because they're not doing shady business? Ask your doctor. The settlement outlined in a report filed in U.S. bankruptcy court in White Plains, New York, still must be approved by a judge. The Sackler family are pleased. They should not be pleased about anything ever. The Sackler family are pleased to have reached a settlement with additional states that will allow very substantial additional resources to reach people and communities in need. The apology reads. The family have consistently affirmed that settlement is by far the best way to help solve a serious and complex public health crisis. Ain't that complex? It ain't that complex. You people did it. You people are behind the whole thing, and you're still worth billions of dollars. It ain't complex. I know you need us to think it's complex so that we can be like, oh, it's not business. But no, it ain't complex. Watch Dopesick. If you don't want to do all the research, if you don't want to, just read all of the articles about it over the years and the origin story of it, if you don't want to do that, just watch Dopesick on Hulu. Watch Dopesick on Hulu, and you will be joining me as I march down 35 into Austin with torches and pitchforks looking for the Sackler estate. The new plan was hammered out with attorneys general. I like when they do it that way. I like when they do it that way, because the improper way is to call a group of state attorney generals attorney generals. That's the improper way. The proper way is a collection of people who are the attorney general of their state are the attorneys general, not the attorney generals. The attorneys general. That's fancy. It's fancy and it's right. And it's, yeah. Families of overdose victims see the settlement in different ways. For Susanna Damagla of Millville, Delaware, even a modest payout to victims from the Sackler family is important, though she is still upset that the wealthy family is getting protection from lawsuits. Damagla's son, Zach, a Marine Corps reservist, became addicted after injuring his shoulder during boot camp. See, that's the other thing that needs to be driven home here. These junkies that we see now, they aren't just guys hey, you mom and dad, I'm dropping out of school and going to do drugs all day because I want to party. That's don't be stupid. The vast majority of people who have been caught in this web of the opioid crisis are people who hurt their back at work, who were in a car accident, who had some kind of surgery for a disease that came with some chronic pain, soldiers who came back from the war. These are not people who were like, I want to be a junkie because I like to be high all the time. That's how stupid people process this information. The Sackler family went after people who were in chronic pain for legitimate injuries and got them addicted to their brand, got them addicted to the Oxycontin, and told everyone it's not addictive. And then when people started going, it is addictive, they started going, well, I think this person just likes to be high. That was literally their response to the opioid crisis for a decade. It's them. They can't control themselves. Let's see here. Damagla's son, Zach, a Marine Corps reservist, became addicted after injuring his shoulder during boot camp. When he died in 2017, she said she didn't have the money to bury him, and it took a few years before she could afford a headstone. That's why when you're looking at the costs of these things, money is such a trivial thing, she said, but it's the only way to exact any justice. Ed Beesh, whose 18-year-old son died of an overdose 20 years ago, is glad states have pushed the Sackler family members to pay more, but still called the settlement a horrible deal because so many parents who buried loved ones won't see the money, and the Sacklers will still be wealthy and free. Yeah, I mean, just the idea that there is nobody in the Sackler family that is going to prison over this is... There is no justice for regular people in this country. If you are very wealthy, you get away with murder. You can victimize anybody in the middle class, in the working class, in the blue collar class, in the lower class. If you have money, you can get away with anything in this country. And that's just something that people have been saying for years, and we've all been going, yep. That needs to change. All right, so that's why Purdue Pharma is trending, because they got away with some BS. Putin, dead or alive, is also trending. We're not going to do a whole lot of war stuff, but this is interesting. A Russian tycoon. This is interesting, huh? We're seeing a whole bunch. We saw the mayors of the Moscow metropolitan area get together the other night and demand an end to the war, calling Putin's aggression evil. That's big. Thousands of people throughout Moscow and St. Petersburg and the other cities, but mostly the demonstrations have been big in Moscow and St. Petersburg. Thousands of people have been arrested for openly taking to the streets in Russia to say this war is a war of aggression. We've seen a number of oligarchs who have high profiles in the West now turn on Putin, saying he's got to go. And that is truly the end game for these sanctions, and not the first wave or the second wave of sanctions, but the third wave that were just enacted over the last couple of days, the ones that put insane pressure on the rich people of Russia. If you got money in Russia, the entire Western world is coming for you. They seized, we talked about this last night, this one Russian oligarch, he had a boat a $600 million boat that was being refitted in Germany in a shipyard there. And German authorities seized it. They said, "Not your boat anymore, dude," because he had some kind of banking agreement with the Kremlin. I don't know what it was. It's complicated. But they just took this super rich guy's $600 million boat. It's happening all over. Roman Abramovich, the owner of Chelsea football, Chelsea FC in the Premier League. That's, by the way, Chelsea's in London. So when you talk about, well, what is Chelsea, like a little suburban team? No, Chelsea is one of the biggest Premier League football clubs. It's like the New York Giants or the New York Yankees, however you want to make that. Chelsea is a neighborhood in London. They are a London. No, there's a couple of teams in London, but Chelsea is one of the big London, big city football clubs there. Roman Abramovich, he was forced to sell. Not forced. He saw the writing on the wall and he did the right thing. He stepped away as the president of the team so that he would no longer have any kind of dealings with the team. And then a couple of days later, he outright came and said, "I'm selling the team. Here's what I'm doing. I am selling the team for billions." It's the same price as like an NFL team, probably more. You know what? That's a good question. What is Chelsea FC worth? Let me see. I'm wondering. He's going to sell the team and he's going to give all of the money that he makes from the team to Ukrainian relief. All right, let's see. Chelsea FC, what is their worth? Okay, in terms of club value, Chelsea is worth $2.5 billion in American dollars. $2.5 billion. So, that's a big thing. So anyway, we're seeing some pressure being put on oligarchs, and we're seeing a number of oligarchs actually going, "Yeah, I don't want to live this way. I don't have all of this money so that I can only travel within Russia." Have you been to Russia? If you've seen Moscow and St. Petersburg, you've basically seen it all. Everything else is just frozen and desolate. I can't believe that I can't fly to my villa in the south of France this weekend because my plane is not allowed to fly in any airspace outside of Russia. That's the kind of pressure they're putting on. So now we have Russian tycoon, Russian oligarch has placed a 1 million bounty on Putin's head. This is what we needed to happen. A US-based Russian businessman and oligarch is offering $1 million to any military officer who apprehends Russian President Vladimir Putin dead or alive for committing war crimes in his invasion of Ukraine. Alex Konyahakin, an entrepreneur and banker, posted the bounty on his social media as Russia enters a full week of military action against the neighboring country. Western governments and companies have responded to the invasion by seeking to economically punish Putin and Russia's ruling elite. The bounty offered by Konyahakin, who is now based in the U.S., places an even more direct target on the Russian leader as backlash over the invasion continues to escalate. He said in a Facebook post Tuesday that he promised to pay the officer or officers the money for arresting Putin as a war criminal under Russian and international laws. As an ethnic Russian and Russian citizen, I see it as my moral duty to facilitate the denazification of Russia, he said in the post. Putin has sought to justify his invasion of Ukraine by saying Russian forces would denazify the Ukraine, an explanation that has been dismissed by Western powers. Again, dismissed because Putin's telling his people that the Ukraine is being run by Nazis and that Zelensky is a Nazi. Zelensky is Jewish and his grandparents were in a concentration camp. So, he's lying. So that's interesting. That's why Putin wanted dead or alive is trending right now. Let's see, what else do we have? What else is trending? Let's keep moving. All right, is my boy Rob Barr. Rob Barr is my San Francisco-based correspondent. He usually hangs out in the chat room. I don't know if he's here. There has been an earthquake in Mexico today. A 5.7 magnitude tremor rocks Veracruz. I don't see anything new happening on that. And I'm not a big earthquake. I mean, I don't know. Is 5.7 big? Seems like it would be, right? Seems like, I don't know. Is that a big earthquake? But that's not why earthquake is trending. Earthquake is trending because San Francisco, this NBC, and it's now been picked up by a number of other sources in the Bay Area. Big earthquake could hit Bay Area at any moment, according to a report. Large magnitude trembler is overdue on the densely populated Hayward fault line. Scientists say that a massive earthquake could strike the pop-ups. Scientists say a massive earthquake could strike the Bay Area at any moment. This, according to U.S. Geological Report. The question: are we ready? A 3.9 magnitude earthquake shook the North Bay Area early Thursday morning. Also, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, the quake struck at around 3:40 a.m., about 12 meters northeast of Healdsburg. But the so-called big one could happen at any moment. Seismologists are most concerned about the Hayward Fault, which cuts directly through the heavily populated Alameda County. The Hayward Fault produces big quakes on an average of 101 every 150 years. The last large trembler on the fault was 6.8 magnitude back in 1868. So yeah, it's due. It is definitely due. It's overdue. Scientists estimate a 7.0 magnitude quake could kill hundreds of people and cause billions of dollars in damage. All right, so there you go. So they're scaring everybody in San Francisco today, saying that the quake that happened earlier today could be a predecessor for a big one. So we will be watching that, I guess. I'm sure we'll hear about it if it happens. Godspeed to our friends in San Francisco. French president, Macron. I hate talking about Macron. This guy just seems like such a douche. So, and by the way, a couple of days ago when I was talking about Emmanuel Macron, I think I said that he was the former president because I thought he was the former president. Oh God, all of this stuff. So I feel bad about saying that. He's actually the current president. I thought he was the former president. I don't know. I guess I was thinking of Sarkozy. I was getting him confused with Sarkozy, but it's Macron. He's the current president. He's been sort of, as far as the Western allies, we'll call him. He's been the guy that's been, chatting up Putin directly on the phone since the beginning of this thing. He's been having long phone conversations. He has a fairly decent, non-belligerent relationship with Putin. Has had it over. I mean, he's not like an appeaser or anything like that, but I guess there's something that they enjoy about one another when they talk, aside from all the horrible stuff that Putin does. So he's been sort of a go-between, and he's been negotiating with Putin. And the conversations, the bromance between Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, and Putin seems to have stopped. It seems like that's it. And Macron's like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I can't talk to this guy on the phone anymore. He's driving me nuts. He's not moving. Vladimir Putin wants to seize all of Ukraine, and worse is to come during this conflict, the French president warned. Emmanuel Macron held talks with Mr. Putin over the phone on Thursday afternoon in a bid to ease, this was just earlier today, in a bid to ease tensions between Russia and the West. The pair spoke for 90 minutes, with Mr. Putin telling Mr. Macron the war in Ukraine is going according to plan, the French official said. According to the official, Mr. Macron then told the Russian leader that he was making a major mistake in Ukraine, adding, "You're lying to yourself, Vladimir." Vladimir's like, "It's all going there. I meant to do that. You see Pee Wee Herman, when he fell off the bike and he pops up, and I meant to do that. I meant to do that. That's going according to plan, comrade." And Macron was like, "You're lying to yourself, Vlad. You're lying to yourself." Mr. Putin told Macron that the invasion will continue until the end, unless negotiations meet all of his terms. Well, that's not really a negotiation, and it's certainly not compromise. I mean, negotiations are based on the theory of compromise. If you're not willing to compromise at all, Vlad, then what are we doing here? By the way, those talks they were going on today. I don't know if they were over. As of like an hour ago, they had taken a dinner break or something. And a source described the tone of the phone call as pessimistic and not at all friendly. Mr. Putin continues to maintain Russia is seeking to demilitarize and denazify the Ukraine, to which Mr. Macron reportedly replied that Ukraine was not the Nazi regime and that your vision of Ukraine was not confronting reality. If you've ever seen the movie, if you've ever seen, it's one of my favorite movies, Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Love the Bomb is what it's called. There is a scene between the president of the United States and the Soviet premier where they're talking on the phone, and it's it's really funny. This reminds me of that scene. I did not mean, no, Yuri, I did not mean to insult you. Yes, Yuri, I'm sorry that you took it that way, but that's not what I meant. If you're familiar with that scene, that's what I imagined the Macron and Putin phone call was like. After the call, Mr. Macron believes worse is to come in the unfolding humanitarian crisis, and that Mr. Putin wants to seize the entirety of the country. This, according to an aide to Macron. All right, so that's not going well. That is not going well. Pete Davidson is trending. Pete is a curiosity. Pete's a fella that he seems likable, right? Pete seems like, I don't think Pete Davidson would even make the top 5 of the current Saturday Night Live people that I like. He doesn't do much. You know what he does well? He does those pre-recorded things, those videos, the things that the Lonely Island used to do years ago that were so good. Pete Davidson does those. Pete Davidson does a good job with those. But as far as like him acting in skits and stuff, he's not. He has been more this year. He's appeared in more skits as an actor this year than he ever had in the past. And I think that that's due to his higher profile. I think that Lorne Michaels is like, well, I can't explain it, but this kid's hot, so let's get him on camera as much as possible. But I don't get him. I don't get why. What's his secret sauce? Women find him very attractive. And I'm like, really? He kind of looks like a junkie. He's all skinny and he's got sunken dark. I don't get it. Hey, more power to him, man. I mean, I've seen clips of his stand-up special and he's got a couple of jokes that make me laugh. But again, I don't get it. He's not Eddie Murphy. He's not Will Ferrell. He's not like one of these breakout guys who is so great in everything he does on the show. And yet he is quite possibly one of the biggest stars to come out of SNL of the past 20 years or so. He's a big star. And now he's a movie star. Now he's doing movies. He wasn't on Saturday Night Live last week. Here's a story that we didn't cover. He wasn't on Saturday Night Live last week. He was scheduled to be, and he was contracted to be, and he's supposed to be, but he wasn't on Saturday Night Live last week because suddenly a movie came up that he's starring in. So Lorne Michaels said he'd only done this one other time, and it was for Bill Murray to do something. Bill Murray maybe it was Meatballs or something, but he had Lorne Michaels through his history, unless it's been a Lorne Michaels production, and then the movie wouldn't be produced during filming of Saturday Night Live. But he's only done it one other time in the history of Saturday Night Live where he let a cast member miss a show to fulfill a film obligation. And he did it with Pete Davidson. Okay. So, I mean, look, he is hot. There is no denying that Pete Davidson is hot. I mean, he's trending today. Why is he trending today? Oh, God, because Kanye again. Kanye's got a new video out where apparently he buries Pete Davidson alive and tortures him. I guess that's the thing. Will C says Pete Davidson is no Bill Murray, not even close. I don't think so. I don't, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Maybe 20 years from now, Pete Davidson has a string of fantastic movies that are beloved the way Bill Murray is. But I don't see it. I don't see it right now. I don't see it yet. I'm not going, that kid's gonna be a star. I mean, I don't see that. The King of Staten Island was a very good movie. It's a very good movie, but he was playing himself. That was his life. That was his story. The story of where he came from. And he was great playing himself. I just don't know. Kanye West is facing fresh backlash after a disturbing scenes in his new music video where Pete Davidson is buried alive. The Jesus Walks rapper released the black and white visuals for his single Easy featuring The Game, which has been lifted off his new album Donda 2. One scene in the dark video features an animation of Saturday Night Live comedian Pete being buried by Kanye. God save me from the crash just so I can beat Pete Davidson's ass. Kanye is heard rapping as the accompanying music video shows him as a cartoon, dragging what appears to be a restrained Pete with a bag over his head. The rapper then removes the bag from Pete, whose body is in the ground, and sprinkles seeds over his head. Many have deemed the visuals to be inappropriate. Oh, I'm sure many have. I'm sure many will deem almost anything to be inappropriate. Listen to me. Give me attention because I'm aggrieved and I'm going to complain about something. You know, you basically are complaining about people complaining. You get that, right? I do. We're all complicated. Many have deemed the visuals to be inappropriate while criticizing Kanye, 44, for his repeated public digs at Pete, 28, who is dating the musician's ex-wife, Kim Kardashian. Perhaps coincidentally, the video was released hours after a judge agreed that Kim could be declared legally single as their divorce proceedings trudge on. This is just so Pete Davidson has some mental issues. He's been very open about it. He's talked about, Pete Davidson is sort of the poster boy for this era of don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to let people know that you struggle with things. And Pete has struggled with depression, bipolar disorder, a whole number of things. But so has Kanye. Kanye is also bipolar. And Pete at least seems to be taking his medication and managing his illness and thriving. Whereas Kanye seems to be off the meds and just completely going over the moon. And I don't want to get into the whole great artist thing again, because Kanye West is a great artist. He is a great artist in the music world. What he does is mind-blowing, ear-blowing. Kanye is an unbelievable producer. You know, I'm waiting for, Netflix has the new Kanye documentary. It's like an 8-part documentary about Kanye West. And I'm waiting for them all to air so that I can, binge watch them or whatever. And again, I think Kanye is a clown. He's a clown. But this is the whole separate the art from the artist. Do you know what a lunatic Picasso was? Do you know what a lunatic Salvador Dali was? People who see and hear the world differently and then create something based on that unique point of view, they're often nuts. They're often not the person you want to be in line behind at Starbucks. They're often difficult. So here we have two people who have declared mental handicaps, declared mental issues. And one of them seems to be thriving and moving on with his life and being, an example to the rest of us who suffer with these kind of things. And the other guy is just leaning into it. He's just leaning into the crazy hard. Another person pointed out the fact Pete struggles with mental health issues, commenting, "Can't make the Kanye is sick excuse on this one, because so is Pete. So am I, so is Pete. Pete Davidson and I are on medication to help us, and we take accountability for our actions. Don't demonize mental illness by letting it excuse the way Kanye is acting. Kanye is himself diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and his own mental health battle has been very well documented." Kanye is just, I've said it before. Kanye's obsession with Kim Kardashian and her moving on is scary. And I wonder if months from now, after something happens, months from now, we'll look back on these times and go, wow, we really sort of we thought that was all pretty funny, didn't we? We chewed on that grist and we made jokes about the Kanye and Pete thing. What I'm saying is 6 months from now, if Kanye West murders Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson like OJ did, I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked. We are seeing a crazy person behave in a way. He's Kanye West. He can move on, dude. There are a lot of fish in the sea. This isn't like you've peaked and the hot girl that you were dating in high school decided to break up with you when you didn't get drafted into the NFL. That's not it. Kanye, you're in the NFL. You're not just in the NFL. You're going to the Hall of Fame in the NFL. There are other fish in the sea for you. You do not have to be this maniacally obsessed with this woman. And certainly not the innocent guy that she's just dating now. So and the other thing that's fascinating too is, Kim Kardashian was right there in the middle of the whole O.J. Simpson killing Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman situation. Kim Kardashian's dad, Robert Kardashian, was O.J.'s lawyer. Like his real lawyer. Once the shit hit the fan, OJ went out and put a dream team together. But before the murder, his lawyer, the guy talked to my lawyer, the guy that OJ would send people to, was his best friend, Robert Kardashian. Robert Kardashian put the dream team together. When OJ said, Robert, we're going to need to put together a dream team, Robert Kardashian is the guy who went out and assembled the dream team. Kris Jenner, who at that time was Kris Kardashian, who is Kim Kardashian's mom, her best friend was Nicole Brown Simpson. When the murders took place, for days, the Brown Simpson kids, OJ's kids, Nicole's kids, lived and slept in Kim Kardashian's bedroom. Kim Kardashian was a little girl. She saw that firsthand. She knows what a crazy stalker is capable of. And now she's in this situation with O.J. Simpson where she's going, I've seen this before. This is not just fun tabloid headline stuff. This guy's out of his mind. And there is probably nobody who understands what Kanye is capable of more than the woman that's divorcing him, right? This Kanye Pete Davidson thing, man. This is getting to a place where I'm telling you, if months from now, we're covering live the story of, Kanye West on the run because he's murdered. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Okay, let's see here. Denton, look at this. Denton is trending today. Denton is trending. Denton, Texas. This first came on my radar this morning. My friend Amy on Twitter, she sent this to me. Says her kid goes here. This happened in North Texas. We'll show you why Denton is trending. I've got it here for you. And then we'll have a little talk about it. Where's Denton? There we go. All right. Okay. All right, so at University of North Texas, they're in Denton, Texas House candidate Jeff Younger, I don't know why he would do this, but he showed up to speak to a class of kids there at the University of North Texas. Jeff Younger is said to be, I don't know, I'm not all that familiar. I'm just going off what the report is. Jeff Younger is said to be an ardently anti-trans bigot. And this is how the kids greeted him when he came to speak to their class. And this is why Denton is trending. Stand there and take it from these kids. It's crazy. Not all of them. I actually hear. We'll watch it again. Some of these kids aren't doing it. Some of these kids aren't. This guy here is so you get what these kids are chanting as the politician comes into their class trying to get their votes. F these fascists. There you go. A bunch of college kids letting their feelings be heard. Here's what I will say. I'm not familiar with Jeff Younger. I don't know anything about Jeff Younger. But it does seem that there's a lot of political mileage. Oh my God, on television too. There's another story coming up here that we'll talk about it. There's a lot of mileage on just hating other human beings. Just hating people. I hate them because they're this. That doesn't, I don't know, man. I'm not a big Christian guy. I was raised Catholic, but I've kind of lapsed. I'm a big fan of Jesus. I think Jesus the philosopher. I always freak people out when I say that. Yeah, Jesus the man, Jesus the philosopher, probably the most important human being who's ever lived on this earth. I mean, his impact is still being spoken about, and he is, no single human being he's not a human being. Let me finish. No single human being has ever had the impact on humanity quite the way that Jesus Christ has. So in that regard, yeah. And boy, when you read Jesus Christ's words, what a guy. What a guy. I mean, this dude, I just don't see a lot of the people who claim to be his guys today anyway, really acting the way he seems like he would have acted in these situations. You just hating people because they're different. I mean, but your anger is based on the fact that what your 12-year-old might see a trans person at the mall and then what? Be broken? I don't know. What kind of influence do you have on them as a parent? If you're worried about this, step up your parent game. I mean, you can talk to your kid. You want to force your kid to believe what it is that you want them to believe, you go ahead. You give that a shot. But that typically doesn't work out in your favor. It's going to just make for a lot of Thanksgiving dinner arguments. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get the hate. I personally, I don't see a whole lot of trans people. You know where I see trans people? I see trans people on television. I see trans people in commercials. I see trans people circulating on social media. I don't understand why so many people are afraid that, everybody's going to be trans now. No. And the people who are, whatever, you don't have to be friends to them. You don't have to be their buddy. You don't have to hang out on Friday night with your buddy Bob, who is now transitioning. That's your choice. But what you can't be is a dick. What you can't be is an asshole to another human being. This is a human being doing their own thing. You don't have to internally respect it, but you can't be an asshole. You just stop. We just all need to stop being a-holes to each other. Why can't we just, you see something you don't like gay people. Okay, I get that. There was a whole bunch of people who were raised in a generation where it was quite common to just, gay people are perverts, they molest children. That was a very strong belief. Now here we are where gay people are all coming out and you're like, oh, well, the guy that I've been working with for 20 years, turns out he's gay? Huh. I don't think he's a molester. He doesn't act. He's actually pretty cool. I like the way he dresses. He's funny. He's witty, and he's really good at his job. So things have changed over the last couple of years. And if you still want to hate people just because they're different, what's going on there is you're confused. That's where the hate comes from. You see something that is not what you expected, and now you're forced to think about why it's not what you expected. And you don't like to think because, you're programmed. Programming serves its purpose. You want to just believe boys like girls, girls like boys and girls make kids. You're either a boy or you're a girl. And that's fine. That's fine. You can think that. And this is what's happening. You see something that doesn't mesh with the way you're comfortable thinking. And instead of just going, Oh, well, all right. I'll walk this way. I don't need to talk to that. Instead of doing that, the confusion turns into frustration, which then manifests itself as some kind of fuck you, tranny. That's a you thing. You got to control that. You got to be able to just go, hey, yeah, this person's different. I don't like it, but I understand we live in a civilized society, so I'm not going to stand here and beat the snot out of them on the corner because they're different than me. You got to be able to control it. Nobody's telling you have to like them. Nobody's telling you that you have to, have them over for dinner. What we're telling you is that stop being an asshole about it. Just stop being an asshole. Just don't be an asshole. Don't. But here's what I think. I think that some people like being an asshole. I think some people find almost like an orgasmic level of joy out of, I'm gonna tell you what I think. And they say it loud because loud people are listened to. And, maybe that's the only time in their lives, or in their daily lives, I should say, where they feel like they're being heard by yelling about something. It's, oh, I feel good. Oh, I let that out. Yeah, and you know what? You can sit with your Bubba friends in the garage, drinking your beer, watching your games, making your comments. There's no problem there. Nobody cares. I don't care. Well, actually, you people on the other side, if you care about that, then you're the exact same problem. If you're one of these people who, have a problem, what people say amongst themselves in their garage while they're drinking beer, well, now you're the asshole. And now I would put it on you to just ignore the people who you deem to be bigots. Okay? Maybe that's your estimation. They're a bigot. They are behaving like a bigot. And I'm going to call them out. No, stop it. Now you're being an asshole. And this is what I always say. On every side of these issues, there are assholes on both sides. If we could all just go, hey, you know what we should all do? We should all just kind of be a little bit more like Jesus. We should all just be like what Jesus would do. He would just be like, as a human being, they were made in my Father's image, and I love all human beings. There you go. Just go with that. Like I said, you don't have to invite them over for dinner. You don't, and I just don't see this avalanche of trans people marching down my streets. I don't see. It has now been, I don't know, probably 20 something days and counting since I saw the trans prostitute at the gas station. And that was a trans prostitute. That's like someone with a whole bunch of other things going on. Maybe I see trans all the time, and I just don't notice because is that the other thing? Oh, is that a thing? Like a dude sees a woman and he's like checking her out, and then he sees an Adam's apple or something, and he's like, ah, he made me gay. No, that's not a thing. You're not gay. You just needed to look and put the pieces together. Stop it. Stop hating people. So this whole Denton thing, these kids, whatever, they're just not putting up with, hating on people. Because from what I understand, and I don't know a whole lot about this Jeff Younger guy, he seems to be one of these politicians who is leading into the specific demographic of voters who like being mad. They like being mad. I'll tell you, there is nothing that feels better to me than being mad. Maybe that's because there's not a whole lot of joy in their life. Maybe that's because they work hard. Maybe because they don't seem to be able to get ahead. Maybe it's because they're always, up against bills. Maybe they don't like the way their daughter is dressing, whatever it is. They're not looking. They're not finding the things that bring joy. Like I always say, man, it is much easier right there on the surface, right? So on the surface, you have the shit that pisses you off. That is the most easily accessible emotion that you have. You just fly off the handle. That's right there. I mean, you got to dig down deep to find the things that make you happy. You need to go looking for the things that bring you joy. You need to be optimistic. I don't know if this is a natural flaw in humanity, that we're just geared towards pessimism over optimism, that maybe optimism is something you got to dig for. I don't know. I just know that we are far more, it's easy. It's far easier to access our anger and our outrage and our bitterness and our grievances than it is, our, hey, that's cool. Oh, I like that. That guy's not. That shows itself in compliments. I am telling you, people are far more. You go out with your buddies, they are far more likely to go, "That's a stupid haircut," than they are, "Oh man, I like those shoes." That never happens. The normal thing is to rip, to tear down, to be rough. Why? Because it's the most easily accessible, and it's been so commonplace over the generations that now we just put up with it. When you have a friend who is very complimentary and nice, they're weird. That's weird. What do you mean? What do you mean you like my shirt? What are you, gay? That's like the response. So I don't know. We need to change that. We need to just be nice. We need to be nicer, and we need to dig deeper for the responses that put. You're going to talk about energy again, aren't you? Maybe. And that's why Denton is trending. That's a long way to go for me to get to that point. You want to know somebody who does nothing but put good energy out? Somebody who is an absolute gem of a specimen of humanity? She's trending. Dolly Parton, the American icon, the national treasure herself, is trending. You know why she's trending? Because Dolly Parton is doing something really freaking cool that one of these politicians who's running for office, who is targeting the outrage. He's out there in the field of the outrage farm, and he is tilling the soil. He has made the calculation. He's running for state senate in Kentucky, in Appalachia, and he's trying to appeal to, the people I just described, the ones that like to be pissed off. And I'm telling you, this might be a bad calculation on his part. He is dragging Dolly Parton in Appalachia. That's where she's from. I think Dolly Parton might be the one that can cut through all that bullshit. Even the most angry dude, sitting in his garage drinking a beer, fearing that the trannies are moving in. No trannies are moving to Appalachia, dude. You don't have to worry about that. As long as you're going to stay there, you're going to be fine. Even that dude is like, well, now hold on a minute. Don't you be talking shit on Dolly. I mean, that. So Dolly's got a sister. Did you know that? Did you know that? Well, yeah, Pugs, she comes from Appalachia. She's probably got 15 sisters. Stella Parton went viral today. She is the little sister of Dolly Parton. Stella Parton went viral with this tweet. I'm outraged this morning that anyone, let alone a GOP senator from the great state of Kentucky, would question my sister Dolly or even insinuate something sinister about her imagination library program for children. Appalachian people have been maligned as uneducated, and to have a senator from an Appalachian state even think, much less say, anything derogatory about this incredible program is appalling. My big sister stays out of politics, but this is an outrage. I would like to see your IQ score, Senator Meredith, along with at least a dozen more. So here's what this is about. Dolly Parton, for like decades, has had this program in the poorest communities in America, and most notably where she grew up in Appalachia, where she set up a little company, and what they do is they send books, textbooks, reading books, history books, fun books, novels, sends books to super poor kids. And they've been doing it for a long time. It's called the Imagination. It's called, what is it called? It's called the Imagination Library. And it's not even Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. She doesn't even want hey y'all, this is something good I'm doing, so love me even more. No, that's not it. It's just the Imagination Library, and it's a program that's been backed by the state, and it's been going on for a long time. And it's in most cases the only way that these kids who grow up in these areas will ever get books. They don't go to half-price book. They don't have a half-price books. They see books in school and they relate to them as being work, the way most kids look at their school books. But these are like books. These are fun books. These are things to encourage reading. And she's been doing it for a long time. And now there's a senator that is out there running for office in this area where all of these kids have been served for so long by this woman who's doing it anonymously. And he's calling her stupid. He's calling Dolly Parton stupid because we don't need none of your books in the big. And so Stella Parton is now coming to her defense. Man, Dolly Parton is awesome. She's just a good person. She's not political. She just does nice things for people with her vast wealth whenever she can. The woman is the first, truly modern era saint that America has ever produced. So that's why Dolly is trending. Jennifer Blair Martin says Imagination Library will send a book each month to a child from birth until age 5. Yeah, I'm reading some of these things, and it talks about how this one woman says that her kids get books from the Imagination Library, and it's the day of the week where they are the most, or the day of the month where they get super excited because the books come addressed to them. It's like they're getting mail. It's like a prize in the mail every month. It's just a wonderful, nice project that she does. Jeff says, look at that Dolly Parton trying to indoctrinate our kids by giving them books. Well, that's the argument that Stella Parton is saying. She's saying, don't politicize my sister's effort to get kids to read, to get kids to open up their minds to the outside world. Don't demonize that. Well, if they open up their minds to the outside world, then how are they going to do exactly what we tell them to do every single time we tell them to do it, no matter how evil or monstrous it is? That's the thing. If you keep people stupid and drunk, they will do whatever you want them to. And Dolly's trying to open them up. Well, Will, on the anger thing, Will says, anger is an appropriate emotion during appropriate times. Adam pretending that you're supposed to be happy all the time is pretending you're supposed to be happy all the time is Pollyannish. That's very true. That's true, Will. I hope I didn't suggest that you're supposed to be happy all the time. You are supposed to run the full gamut of your human emotions, and you're supposed to be able to reasonably control them. You're supposed to reasonably be able to, I always told my kid when he was about to have a temper tantrum from the time that he was little, you're such a good dad. Is this another, you're such a good dad? I used to lecture him about choices, about how whatever you do in your life, like, I know you're getting mad. I know you really want to go to Chuck E. Cheese and you're about to throw a temper tantrum, and you can throw a little temper tantrum. You can get this juice out of your system, but you've got to understand that what's happening right now is you being out of control. You need to control your mind right now. Whatever you're about to do, whether you're going to kick the dashboard of the car or you're going to throw your fists in the air, all of these things are choices that you are making. Maybe they're involuntary, but I've tried to teach my kid that they don't have to be involuntary. When you get really mad, the best thing that you can do in the moment before you pop off is just sit there. And, for years it's been count to 10, but it's not just count to 10. Counting to 10 is a good thing, but it's not just counting to 10. It's the idea of taking 10 seconds to recognize that, okay, I'm about to make a choice. Is this choice going to get me sent to bed without dinner? Is this choice going to make things worse? Think it through. So, we should all have our emotions. We were given all these emotions for a reason. But the idea that we allow one emotion to run roughshod over every decision that we make is dangerous. We've got to be in control of everything. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just somebody who's lived a life, who's experienced a lot of things. I've been through some shit. I've been manically depressed. I've been up, I've been down, I've been spinning, and I've realized that there are ways to control what's happening inside your brain. Oh, but I thought it was brain chemistry. Well, it is to a degree. It's the brain chemistry that creates the intent, the will and the want for something. But if you understand that that's what it is, you can control it to a degree. To a degree, you can control it. That's not to say that people who are suffering at a much greater rate than I am, your Pete Davidsons and your Kanye Wests, I'm minor league. I'm minor league mental deficient. But there are people out there who have real problems and they need their pills. They need this, they need that. Most of us have some form of an issue, and there are little tricks. Therapy is an incredible thing. Therapy teaches you tricks. when a therapist is sitting there and they're figuring out what's going on with you and what your symptoms and what your reactions tell her is going on with you, that's when they go, well, you need this. Here's a script. You just go and get that filled and take your pills and then come to me every week. That's one thing. But sometimes they're like, yeah, I don't think you need that. I just think you need to learn a couple of techniques, a couple of things and there are so many of us that just need these techniques. Understanding about choice, understanding that your emotions are something that you control. You're the boss. You are in charge. Oh, hell, you're ranting right now because you have lost control or you have completely given over to that particular emotion. Maybe it's because you like that emotion. I do. I like being mad. You like being mad? It's all I know. It's all I know. Well, dig in there, man. Dig in there. You can find some other things. You can find some joy. What do you want me to do? Go sit in the backyard and look at a fucking bird? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. If that's your thing, I don't know. Go on YouTube. Do you like cars? I love cars. Go on YouTube and just watch some really cool, some dude fix an engine for 20 minutes. Whatever you need. People are different. But understanding that we control it all. We do control it all. That's the most important thing. I'm lecturing like an a-hole. All right. What else is trending? Oh, this is fantastic. Wheel of Fortune is trending. We talked about this the other day. We did it live on Tuesday night. We saw this. This came up Tuesday night. Somebody on Wheel of Fortune was really silly. They made a crazy mistake. Not a crazy mistake, but it's been trending for the last couple of days. Pat Sajak is trending now. And we'll get to why. But let's watch what all the hubbub is concerning Wheel of Fortune. Why everybody's talking about Wheel of Fortune. Here we go. There it is. All righty. All right. So, again, this was on Tuesday night's Wheel of Fortune. You might have to turn up your volume a little bit because none of these seem to have very good sound.
Assault?
Okay.
Another feather in your hat.
Okay, so you see where we are, right? It's another feather, blank, N. Why? Oh, obviously that's your. And the problem is the last word. And I'm telling you, if you're tuned into this show, if you're streaming this show, 100% of you know that word is cap, right? Another feather in your cap. It's another feather in your cap. That's like a saying. That's like a phrase. Well, I guess it's a phrase. We've heard it a million times. Everybody has heard it a million times. Apparently not these people.
Christopher. $6.50.
G.
No G. Thomas. Uh-oh, the bankrupt got you. Boy, you have another shot at it. You can spin the wheel and try to solve the puzzle.
I'll solve.
Okay.
Here we go.
Another feather in your lap.
No. I wonder if that is moving around.
Lap, she says. Lap. Yes, of course. Another feather in your lap.
D.
No. Thomas.
No D. What did you think? Another feather in your dap?
Thomas, I think the wheel got. Laura, you have another opportunity here. You can spin the wheel. You can try.
Thomas knows it too. Thomas knows it.
Go ahead and spin if you don't know.
I'm gonna go ahead and spin.
All right, Laura, you ridiculous person.
Well, what letter would you like?
A P?
Yes, there's P.
There's a P. All right, here we go. We're getting there. She's got it.
I will solve.
Okay.
Another feather in your map.
What?
Christopher, it's your turn.
What? Map? Another feather in your map?
Oh my goodness.
This is gonna go on forever. Are you kidding me? Here we go. He's known it. He's just been having some bad spins. Hey, he's got it. Thomas has got it.
You want to solve this?
Yeah, he does.
Another feather in your cap.
That's it. That's it. Way to go. Finally. Okay. So there were two people on there who were just absolutely ridiculous. It's just, I don't. Ah, that's sad. That's sad. This is not Jeopardy caliber contestants on Wheel of Fortune. That's all I'm saying. This is not. So Pat Sajak is trending. Like a referee or umpire, game show contestants are far more likely to enter the public spotlight when something goes awry. That happened in Tuesday night's episode of The Wheel of Fortune. For 2 awkward minutes, contestants couldn't complete the missing 4 letters of Another Feather in Your Cap. From the comfort of our own homes and with the benefit of hindsight, it's easy to identify the correct answer as another feather in your cap. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for these players. One contestant twice guessed the wrong consonant, and another whiffed on 3 chances to solve the puzzle. The third player twice spun bankrupt before finally getting an opportunity to say the correct answer. Social media had fun at their expense, but host Pat Sajak urged everyone to try and empathize. Okay, it always pains me when nice people come on our show to play a game and win some money and maybe fulfill a lifelong dream, and are the subject to online ridicule when they make a mistake or something goes wrong, Sajak said. Pat Sajak is just a wonderfully kind man. He's just such a nice guy. He's a wonderful dude. Went to my college, graduate of Columbia, Chicago. What's he gonna say? We're all out here acting superior. And rightfully so. Those people should be embarrassed. The very idea Pat Sajak is coming to their defense publicly is just a wonderful. He's just a nice guy. It's another feather in his lap. Him being a nice guy. That is. But how did these people? How did these people? And Parker pointed this out when we were talking about this on Tuesday night. That was recorded months ago. They record these months ago and then they air on a schedule. And so the people who were made to look incredibly silly, not knowing another feather in your cap and saying another feather in your map, another feather in your lap. These people, they knew for months that this was coming. I mean, the last couple of months had to have been absolute. It's just hanging there like a sword of Damocles. They'd probably never use that as a phrase on Wheel of Fortune. Nobody. Sword of Hammerclock. No. But it's just out there hanging. And they're like, yeah. So tell me, Laura, I think her name was Laura. So tell me, Laura, when does your episode of Wheel of Fortune air? Oh, it may not. It already aired. You missed it. I didn't win. It was all right. That was a fun experience. How do you? And then it airs. And everybody you work with knows that you're on Wheel of Fortune. That's all you talked about. From the moment they chose you to be on Wheel of Fortune, you were at work going, did you hear Laura's going to be on Wheel of Fortune? Ooh, and everybody was all excited. And then she goes off and she records it. Or, it's like that. It's a going away party at the bar after work because Laura's going out to Hollywood to be on Wheel of Fortune. It's so exciting. And then she comes back and they're like, how did it go? And she's like, it's horrible. It's horrible. And then for months, it was just out there. She knew what happened. And it was just waiting. And then it aired on Tuesday, and she probably showed up for work on Wednesday, and everybody was just like, Laura, we had no idea you were that stupid. We had no idea. That's funny. Adam says, my coworker was on Cash Cab. She lost quickly, but wasn't embarrassed by it. Well, I mean, you could lose. That's fine. That's fine. You can lose. You don't have to win. You can go on a game show. But the goal is to not go on the game show and humiliate yourself. She humiliated herself. Exactly, Steven. What the fuck, Laura? What were you doing? Laura, they want to talk to you in the conference room. And then it's just like all the bosses. It's nothing. She's not in trouble, but all the bosses got together. We need the story here, Laura, because it's all we can talk about. No one understands exactly how. Do you not know? I bet you when she showed up for work, do you think when she showed up for work, people were wearing like those William Tell hats with the little feather in their cap? I would have, after that aired at 6:30, if I worked in Laura's office, I would have called around and found stores where I could buy hats with feathers in it. And I would have just had everybody when she walked in the next day wearing a hat with a feather in their cap. How many plaques with that saying did Laura get? Like all of them. Like she was just missing the C in cap and the O in your. I mean, it's, Adam Reyna, look at you throwing it back at me. It's not humiliating. It's only is if you let it be. Speaking of how you can control your emotions, that's true. That is, look at that. Here I feel like I just throw bullshit out and nobody actually takes it to heart. That is absolutely right. The way I would handle that is that I would have walked in with a feathered cap and I would have said, okay, y'all saw it. All right. Except here's the thing. It is humiliating. It's how you handle the humiliation. The humiliation doesn't go away. It's not like it wasn't humiliating. It's not like she didn't shit the bed on national TV, because she did. But Adam, you are right. It is all in how she allows it to affect her. Very good. Let's see. Jeff says, Laura, after seeing your performance on the wheel, we're going to have to demote you. Please report to the mailroom. I'm sure Laura is a lovely woman, and we should all have that fun experience of going on a game show. There was a time when I was in my 20s when I was really good at trivia. I'm not anymore because you get old, and a lot of the trivia starts being geared towards younger generations But when all like the youth trivia was geared towards like 80s and 90s stuff, I was good. I was good because I knew all of the trivia that pertained to my generation, but also because I was an only child, I spent an extreme amount of time with my grandparents growing up. So I was also exposed to all of their pop culture. So I had this like weird hybrid, where I knew who Benny Goodman was, I knew how Benny Goodman died. I could name Benny Goodman songs or, stuff like that. But yeah, then I realized when I retired from competitive trivia, probably about 15 years ago, it was when all the questions started to be about, Nickelodeon shows, not even Nickelodeon. Yeah. Like Disney Plus shows. When I started to see questions about Disney Plus and Mulan, I was like, yeah, all right, I'm out. It's time to retire. This is like a football quarterback who realizes he can't escape the pocket quite the way he used to. When I saw some of those questions come up, I'm like, there's no way I have a frame of reference for that. Really? This question is about Shrek? Oh God, I don't even have kids yet. I haven't seen Shrek. I'm a 35-year-old man. So I had to retire from competitive trivia. However, if you are playing Trivial Pursuit and you are using a game that you've had in the closet since 1989, let's go, baby. Let's go. I can do that. And when you update the cards, we've got Trivia Pursuit. We've got the new 2022 cards. I'll be like, all right, I'm not a first round draft pick anymore. I'm at best, I'm a free agent walk-on. There was a time, though, in my life when I was good at trivia where I thought I could make a living being a professional game show contestant. I actually read this book. There was this great book that was out. I was doing radio I was working in radio, but I also wanted to do like game shows. And there was this book out, how to be on game shows, like how to get chosen and what they want to hear, what the producers want to hear. Yeah, for a couple weeks, that was like a real goal of mine. No wonder you are in the straits that you find yourself. You're telling me that was a legitimate goal. Yeah, it was. Silver Springs is trending. Silver Springs, Maryland. Apparently there was a big explosion at an apartment building in Silver Springs, Maryland. I don't have any more details on that other than if you know somebody who lives in an apartment in Silver Springs, Maryland, check on them. Meth, whatever an apartment complex go up, I always think, is somebody cooking meth? Somebody cooking meth in that apartment building. Steely Dan is trending. Steely Dan. I mentioned Steely Dan the other day. Donald Fagen, Walter Becker, Steely Dan. For a period of time, Michael McDonald was singing for Steely Dan. And then he went and joined the Doobie Brothers. Steely Dan is trending because this is kind of fun. Look, I don't get mad. Look, if you're a kid and you think that Steely Dan is someone that deserves your scorn, that's fine. You're a kid. Yeah. But Steely Dan isn't my generation either. Steely Dan comes from my parents' generation. But I just really enjoy music, and I recognize when something is above average in what they're attempting to do. And I love Steely Dan. Steely Dan is amazing. My son loves Steely Dan. My son, when Guardians of the Galaxy 2 used the song Dirty Work, because I guess Dirty Work was on, in Guardians of the Galaxy, he has this mixtape with all of these songs from when he was a little kid. And when they used the song Dirty Work for Guardians of Galaxy 2, the Steely Dan song, when they used that song in the trailer for the film and like really pumped that song, my kid was like, he felt cool because he knew that song. He knew that song. He knew that song because his dad loves yacht rock. And Steely Dan is definitely a yacht rock band. Anyway, Steely Dan started trending because somebody, there's a picture there. Okay. So there's a picture that's going around the internet of Christopher Cross, who I'm not necessarily a big fan of, but he was somebody that sailing takes me away to where I always, when you get caught between the moon and New York City. Christopher Cross. Not my thing. Sure, he's a wonderful guy. That's just not my kind of music. But there's a picture of Christopher Cross that went viral, a recent picture of Christopher Cross that went viral. And he's wearing a Steely Dan t-shirt. And somebody tweeted, it doesn't get much more yacht rock than Christopher Cross wearing a Steely Dan t-shirt. Which is very funny because as somebody who loves the yacht rock, although I don't have any Christopher Cross on my yacht rock. I don't care if he's got a song called Sailing Takes Me. That's not my version of yacht rock. My version of yacht rock is just really cool, chill music from all different, I got Modest Mouse on my yacht rock playlist, So anyway, but yeah, that's why that's trending. Steely Dan, because Steely Dan is being widely defended by music aficionados of all ages. And there is another one. Somebody else posted, though. These are slams on Steely Dan that I love. That I just love because I'm, anybody who's familiar with Steely Dan and what they did and what their reputation is in music, that they're pretty well regarded as dudes who were really doing cool stuff. They weren't just popping out hits. They were doing some pretty intricate and pretty format forward kind of stuff. But somebody said, I love this one. I pulled a couple that I thought were funny. Steely Dan is just Simon and Garfunkel for people who swap wives. Which is funny. Which, first of all, not yacht rock, but if we're going to talk about the singer-songwriter genre, you're a moron if you think shitting on Simon and Garfunkel is going to get you any mileage. That is just dumb. As far as American singer-songwriters go, Simon and Garfunkel, I'll put their catalog up against anybody that you think is great. But they're not yacht rock. I wouldn't say Simon and Garfunkel are yacht rock. Maybe Mrs. Robinson, maybe something like that. Maybe some of it. But that is funny. Steely Dan is just Simon and Garfunkel for people who like to swap wives because Steely Dan was kind of edgy they were kind of, they talked about subjects that, were maybe not palatable to American FM radio of the time. They were edgy, they were provocative, but nobody listens to lyrics and nobody understands what songs are about. So whatever. Although somebody did post something, and I didn't save this one, but it was to the effect of, it shows your musical ignorance when you consider Steely Dan to be yacht rock when they're a band whose entire catalog is filled with songs that attack people who own yachts. And that's pretty true. That's pretty true. Steely Dan was very much against, the establishment, and very much against. So that was funny. But I do consider Steely Dan yacht rock. But I have a very non-traditional yacht rock playlist. Someday, maybe in some way, shape, or form, I'll be able to share my yacht rock. That's what I want to do. Like, I would love to. I never wanted to do music radio, but I would love to do a yacht rock show, like a yacht rock kind of Saturday night. You're out at the lake. I love me some yacht rock. However, I have a very personal definition and criteria for what yacht rock is. I don't think it fits what the common description of yacht rock is. Ross Rubio, Run Like the Wind. Christopher Cross always reminds me of Ron and Don's demise in DFW, leading to the welcome of P&K to our city. Ride like the wind. I'm gonna run, no time to sleep. I don't even know. I like to ride like the wind to be free again. But I've got such a long way to go, such a long way to make it to the border of Mexico. So I ride. I knew that whole song. I know that. Like the wind, ride like the wind. Hour on Denton. I appreciate that, Adam. I'm talking about a nationally syndicated show on Saturday nights that's on 300 stations. I'm not going to go into music radio, a format I've never wanted to work in, just to do an hour in Denton. How dare you, sir? Have you seen my resume, sir? How dare you? Yeah, your resume includes doing a stream from a guest house the last 6 months. Who the fuck you think you are? That's a good point, too. Thank you, schizophrenic me. That's a good point. Adam Reyna with a fairly racist statement. Adam Reyna doesn't like music because it's not the race that he is. He says that Steely Dan is too white for him. That's pretty racist. That's pretty racist. It's funny how people are allowed to be racist. It's not really that racism in general is bad. It's that racism against your race is bad that people get upset about. Or, in general, white people get upset. There's some white people get upset when, you go, you're a racist, But yeah, that was a very racist thing that he just said. And I would suggest that you probably get rid of that, Adam. Adam says that was it Adam? I want to make sure it's Adam. Steely Dan is too white for me. Could you imagine if I said Earth, Wind, and Fire is too black for me? That's not. Racism can't be held without the power, Pugs. That's the rules. Okay, that's the point. I do understand that point. I do understand that argument. I do get that argument. But still, you should be consistent that, your belief system says that we are all created equal. Therefore, the denigration of any one race, regardless of power structure, should be avoided. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I-95 is trending. I-95 in Florida. There was a big car accident there. People died. There was big explosions. It was, I guess it was fog. There were some videos out there, but the video, it just looks like a white screen. You may as well have just shown me a white screen. You can't make anything out of the video that I saw. So I was like, oh, why even show that? It's just a white screen. It's just, if I held over here, here, folks, this is a video of the fog that caused the 15 car accident on that road. I-95. Here's the video. There you go. That's the video. Look at that. Do you see that? Look, do you see all those cars? There's literally the fog was so bad. I'm like, somebody made a video of it. What's the point? What is the point? You can't see anything. Although I guess there are pictures I've seen of the aftermath, but man, God, dude, if fog is that bad, actually, I don't even know. What do you do? Do you pull over? Do you want to pull over? Because then, no one's going to see. Oh, God. Fog is the worst. I'd rather drive in a blizzard than fog. Because at least in a blizzard, you can see. That's the whole thing. You need to be able to see. Blizzard, you can only see like maybe a foot or two in front of your car, but at least you can see. You can see the taillights of the other car. Fog, really dense fog. Oh, my God. Let's see here. So that happened. Jeffrey Toobin is trending. CNN legal expert Jeffrey Toobin is trending. And I'm not going to get into why he's trending. I'm just going to say, never forget. Jeffrey Toobin got caught whacking off on a Zoom call with people that he worked with. It was at the New Yorker magazine or whatever. And he did that. Never forget. Jeffrey Toobin, who was on CNN, got caught during a work call with other people. That's perverted. That is either, okay, so here's the situation. So, the Zoom call, there's a whole bunch of boxes. This is like in the beginning stages of the whole pandemic thing where everybody was working from home. So there was a work call, and when it was over, I don't know if he thought his camera was off or something, but it was suddenly revealed that he was spanking it right there on the work call. Now, is he so sexually depraved that he couldn't not masturbate at that moment? He couldn't just do his work call and then go into his room and do whatever he does. That's fine. Everyone has sexual urges. That's fine. But so is he sexually depraved, or is he so sexually charged up that he couldn't wait? Or was this some kind of weird fetish and perversion that he's got, that he wanted to be holding a work call with people he works with while he's masturbating? So CNN gets rid of him. He's no longer allowed to be on CNN. This is appalling. He's a sex criminal. Yeah, well, he's back. He's been back for like months and nobody's saying anything about it. And he's still on CNN offering up all of these. Well, I'll tell you what I think the law should be. I think the law should be you keep your pants on. How about that, Jeff? How about that law? Never forget. He's trending for some January 6th committee stuff. He's got hot takes. Seriously, how? I don't want to get all, how did he get a second chance? How is he back on? You telling me that there are no other legal scholars that were just sitting there waiting for an opening to happen, that they could come and pop on and be on TV? Honestly, is that what you're telling me? That Jeffrey Toobin was so good at what he does that you can just wait it out like 6 months and then say, hey, come on back on. Everybody's forgotten. No, nobody's forgotten. Every time I see this guy on TV, I go, CNN has zero credibility with this guy. This is absolutely ridiculous. How did he get a second chance? How? I just don't get it. I don't understand. If it was Van Jones, would Van Jones have been given a second chance? I don't think so. And then you hear people going, that's just the definition of white privilege there. And I resist that kind of stuff. But then in a situation like this, I'm like, they're right though. They're kind of right. How did Jeffrey Toobin get a second chance? And would a black dude? Hey, you know who got kicked off CNN for attending a Trump rally? Paris Denard. Paris Denard was a black guy, a CNN commentator. He was on every damn night, and he attended some Trump thing. And then people said, well, he can't be objective because he appeared and spoke at a Trump thing, and CNN fired him, and that dude ain't been on TV in 5 years. Jeffrey Toobin jerks off on a work call, and he has to sit on the bench for 6 months. Are you kidding me? And I'm not taking up for Paris Denard. I hate that guy. But honestly, why does Jeffrey Toobin get a second chance on TV? I don't know. That's what people complain about. And they're not wrong. The weekend is trending. Why is the weekend trending? Well, because the weekend has announced a tour. Oh God. I better have some income by the time he gets through town, because my kid's going to demand that I take him to see the weekend. My kid loves the weekend. Loves them. There was a summer when Blinding Light first came out, and I don't know. I think I had to hear that damn song 50 times a day. Just 50 times a day. He would play it on the car. The song would end. We drove from Chicago to Dallas, one end of summer trip, and he played Blinding Light 100 times. And it's fine. It's a great song, but no song is great 100 times in a row. Really? Are we going to listen to this song all the way from Memphis through Texarkana? We're just going to listen to it over and over again. It's a good song. I'm trying to memorize the words. I'm like, okay, you do you, kid. The weekend is going out on a big tour, and when I tell you it is a big tour, it is a big tour. This guy ain't playing clubs. This guy ain't playing no tiny, small-time NBA arenas. This guy's playing football stadiums. Does the weekend have the body of work to justify a football stadium? Yeah, I guess he does. Who am I? They wouldn't do it if they couldn't sell the tickets. This isn't like in a couple of months they're going to go, yes, we have moved the weekend from AT&T Stadium to the Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. They're not going to do that. That's not going to happen. They know ahead of time. They know what the demand for tickets is going to be in any particular market. So he's going to start out on July the 9th in Toronto at the Rogers Center. He's playing the Link in Philadelphia. He's playing MetLife Stadium in New York. He's playing Gillette Stadium in Boston. He's playing Soldier Field in Chicago, FedEx Field in Washington, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. He is playing football stadiums. My God. Woo. And there's the granddad. Allegiant Stadium. He's playing Allegiant Stadium. He's playing that new, the Darth Vader Raiders Stadium that's so cool out there in Vegas. Coolest stadium in the league. That stadium is so badass looking. I had a friend who went to that stadium, and they came back, and I said, yeah, well, so what's the stadium like? He's like, I don't know how they're ever going to make a stadium that's better. And I go, I said that after first going to AT&T Stadium. And he's like, yeah, I've been to AT&T. He works in sports. And he's like, yeah, AT&T Stadium is amazing. But it ain't Allegiant. He goes, it's totally different. Now I got to get his take on SoFi Stadium, because people say SoFi is even better than Allegiant. The weekend is coming to Dallas. He's going to be playing at the AT&T Stadium on August the 14th. That's 8/14 in Arlington. So I don't know when tickets go on sale for that, but man, oh man. And this is the kid, he's going to want to go to the concert. And there are going to be so many bad seats for that. That's why I don't like football stadiums. I don't like going to see bands at football stadiums, because it's like 80% bad seats. I like to see bands at most a basketball arena. 20,000, 24,000 people. That's about as big as I'm comfortable with. You start getting into like 100,000 seat arena, it's like, what's the point? I don't want to do this. April says Spotify pre-sale is next Tuesday. Let's see. Speaking of Dickies, cheap seats for McCartney are going for more than $300. Yeah, that's Paul McCartney. I was watching a YouTube video with him talking about this tour, and they were like, why are you not doing, because he had done stadiums the last couple of tours that he came through, and he said, I didn't really enjoy doing the football stadiums. It was something that I did, and but I want to play more intimate settings. And they're like, so you're playing like 25,000 seat arenas? And he's like, well, unfortunately, where I am now in my career, that's about as intimate as they'll let me get. It's like, yeah, that's true. Paul McCartney can't play a club. He can't be playing, Thursday and Friday night in Deep Ellum. That's not what McCartney is going to be able to do. So, Weekend's going out on tour with Doja Cat. Doja Cat. Again, this is the one that always comes up. I have no idea if that's a guy or a girl, or maybe gender fluid. I don't know. I don't know what Doja Cat is. Is it a band? Is it a person? I don't know. I feel like when old people used to go, I like that guy, Led Zeppelin. It's like, it's not a guy, Grandpa. I don't know what Doja Cat is. I don't know. Also trending, Jerry Rice is trending. Why is Jerry Rice trending? Okay, for my football fads out there, here's why Jerry Rice is trending. Because something went viral on Twitter today, and it's asking you, you can only pick one of these wide receivers. Jerry Rice is a couple of them are trending, but Jerry Rice was the one I pulled off of. So here are your receivers, okay? You can only pick one, and they're going to be on your team. They're going to be a superstar on your team. Here's your choices. Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, in their prime. It said in their prime. Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, Terrell Owens. And it looks like Jerry Rice is winning, which is good because there's not a whole lot of people who remember seeing Jerry Rice play on Twitter. I mean, there's some people my age, but Twitter is mostly people, who were raised in the 90s. Who weren't necessarily, watching football every Sunday when Jerry Rice was playing. So I think it's a good indication that maybe Jerry Rice is being appreciated as one of the greatest receivers of all time. He wouldn't be my pick. Jerry Rice would not be my pick in this. In their prime, I mean, there is no loser in this group. There is no loser. But if I could pick one of these guys, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitz, or Terrell Owens, it's Calvin Johnson all day. It's Megatron all day. That's due to some personal reasons. I have watched his career with the Detroit Lions, played in my Bears division. And the Lions don't beat the Bears much, but holy shit, Calvin Johnson was good. Oh, God. And I love how he just retired. He way early, in his prime. He's like, yeah, I'm really good, and I'm kind of a loyal dude, and I don't want to go bounce around the league and be a free agent and play for another team. I like the Lions, and so I'm just going to step away. I don't have all that crazy head scrambles. I made millions. When people say the name Megatron, they know what I did. Hall of Fame, I don't really care. Did I play long enough for the Hall of Fame? I think so, but we'll see. Bye, everybody. I love the way Calvin Johnson did that. All right, here you go. Here's another one. This is kind of sad. Farrah Forkey has died. Farrah Forkey is dead of cancer at 54 years old. Do you remember Farrah Forkey? You guys know who Farrah Forkey is? She played what was her character's name? Alex. She played Alex on Wings. Yeah, hold on. I'll pull her up for you. She played Alex on Wings, the helicopter pilot. She was kind of tough. She was like Steven Weber's girlfriend. She was a Dallas girl, born and raised. Here, we'll pull her up. We'll make sure we can get a look at her. Nope, never mind. She was also on Lois and Clark. She did a bunch of little things, but she's probably most famous for the role of Alex, the helicopter pilot, the former combat veteran from Desert Storm. Now there she is in Lois and Clark. There she is there. There she is there. There she is there. There she is there. But I mean, I remember her as Alex, the sexy helicopter pilot from Wings. There she is. There's the cast of Wings. There she is right in the middle there. She died of cancer. Very, very sad. And very sad because I actually met her. Oh God, here we go. No, I did. I had a friend who was in a relationship with her. And they were engaged, and they broke off the engagement just as she began to get a whole bunch of like acting jobs and stuff like that. And she was, I don't know, I think she lived in Houston, but she went to Hockaday here in Dallas. I mean, so she grew up and did her like schooling in her young 20s, and her modeling career and all that stuff was here in Dallas. And my friend who was engaged to her, who I actually met her through, and I met her long after they had broken off the engagement, like 15 years after. We were just somewhere and she was there. And she was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" Is that? And he's like, "This is my friend Pugs." And I'm like, "Hi," that whole thing. And my friend died of cancer too recently, just a little while ago, like a year or so ago. So it's just weird. It's like they both died of cancer. So that's sad. Farrah Forkey, who co-starred on the long-running NBC sitcom Wings, died of cancer on February 25th in her Texas home. Bruce is who I'm talking about. Remember Bruce? Bruce X? Bruce, he was a regular on the show. Yeah, he dated her. And seriously, very seriously. And Bruce has passed away. I can't believe I buried that. Why didn't I buried? Poor choice of words. Yeah, I was like, did I say Bruce? I don't think I said Bruce. Farrah Forkey, who co-starred on the long-running NBC sitcom Wings, died of cancer on February 25th in her Texas home. A family friend confirmed to Variety she was 54 years old. Forkey appeared on season 4 through 6 of Wings, which aired on NBC from 90 to 97. She played helicopter pilot and veteran of Desert Storm, Alex Lambert, at the show's Nantucket Airfield. And she was a love interest of both Joe, Tim Daly, and Brian Hackett, Steven Weber. Brian eventually won her favor. Wings was created by Cheers and Frasier writers David Engel and Peter Casey and David Lee. The show also starred Tony Shalhoub and Thomas Hayden Church. She went on to do a whole bunch of things. Forkey was born on January 12, 1968 in Corpus Christi, Texas. As an adult, she moved to New York to study acting at the Lee Strasberg Film and Theater Institute. Later, she stepped away from acting to raise her twins, Chuck and Whit. Forkey is survived by her 2 sons, her mother and stepfather. I don't know. I just thought that was sad. That was no fun. Anyway, I always thought she was hot, like in Wings. I was always like, man, that girl's hot. Joy Behar is trending. Okay, so we're rounding out the show here. We're running out of time, but we got to show this. You're terrible, Pugs. You're showing this. You are terrible. Here's why Joy Behar is trending. She's fine. Stop it. She's fine. You're showing your money. She's an old woman. She's fine. I hope. I didn't do a whole lot of follow-up on this because it just made me laugh. All right. Joy Behar bails on the set of The View. She's an old woman. You shouldn't be left. I'm sorry. She's fine. For all I know, she's fine. I've seen no reports of Joey Behar needing emergency hip replacement surgery. I'm sure she's fine. I guess she did the show. All right, here you go. She's fine.
Come on, just stop, just stand.
Get her up.
Let me tell you, these chairs.
Yeah, look at Joy. She's fine.
These chairs move.
Okay, watch it again. That's why she's trending. She's fine. Stop it. Unless she's not. I don't know. I'm assuming she's fine. Sorry. I just think it's funny when people fall. I think it's funny when people fall. My kid and I, one Saturday a few weeks ago, we spent just an hour watching YouTube videos of people slipping on ice, and it was one of the funniest. Oh God. It's the way she turtles over and her legs go up in the air, but she bounces right back. She's resilient. She's Joy Behar. She's a tough old broad. She's gonna be fine, for all I know. She's fine. She's fine. Let me see if she's fine. Let me just quickly Google search Joy Behar, see if she's fine. She's fine. She's fine. I purposely didn't want to know if anything terrible was happening to her because I saw her get back up and she seemed fine, and I just wanted to go with that. The View's Joy Behar accidentally falls off her chair during... The View's Joy Behar accidentally falls off her chair during live show. I'm a klutz, she says. Joy Behar is doing just fine. All right, there you have it. Joy Behar is doing just fine after suffering an on-air mishap. During Thursday's episode of The View, the 79-year-old co-host walked out on stage as usual, but this time around, Behar accidentally fell out of the chair. After Behar's co-host helped her off the ground, moderator Whoopi Goldberg said, "These chairs move. You touch it and you're on the ground," added Goldberg, 66. Sonny Hostin said, "It's happened to all of us at one time or another." I haven't seen any videos of it happening to all of you. I've only seen videos of it happening to Joy. "Who do I sue?" said Joy. "My husband is home laughing, I bet," she added. Upon getting settled into her seat, Behar recalled what happened in the brief incident. "I went flying," she said. While Sarah Haynes pointed out how high the chairs are, Goldberg joked that it takes a glass of wine to get into the chair. Ha 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 ha. Goldberg then asked Behar if she is all right after the fall. "I just missed the step," Behar said, "as usual." All right, so there you have it. There you have it. She's fine. She's fine. She's fine. Stop it. Let's see. Oh, wait a second. We got like some kind of fight going on in the chat room here between Adam and Will C. I don't know what the hell's happening here. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to get into that. You guys, I don't need that nonsense. Okay. And finally, before we look and see what's been happening since we signed on the show, this is funny. My buddy Ed, Mr. King Grand Poobah of the Radio Misfits, sent me this. This is going on in Russia. So, Russia's got a blackout going on of, any kind of news about the war. Russia wants only the news that they put out to the citizens to be the news that the citizens believe about the war. So, the story is going out to the citizens of Russia that Ukraine attacked them and that the Ukraine is creating a genocide and that the Ukraine is run by Nazis and the Russians need to stand up to Nazis. That's the story. That's the story that Putin and all them want out to the people. And they're starting to, crack down on protests and anybody who talks about what's really happening in the Ukraine, about how the Russian army's kind of getting their ass kicked and how the world is kind of laughing at them and all that stuff. So one of the ways that people are taking to getting news to the average Russian citizen about what is actually happening is through Google restaurant reviews. Google restaurant reviews in Russia have been hijacked to share news from the Ukraine with Russian citizens. Online reviews aren't always known for being honest and accurate, but these are a different story. Around the world, news of mounting casualties and destruction from Russia's invasion of Ukraine continues to make headlines, but in Russia, the story being told to residents looks very different. Many Russian citizens are aware of and disagree with their government's actions, as evidenced by the massive protests that have taken place in Moscow and across the country. But with attempts by the Kremlin to suppress social networks and spread its own narrative via state-sponsored media, it's hard to know how much accurate news the people of Russia are able to access. There are always ways around the problem, however. People are using tech and the internet to ensure that Russian citizens are hearing the truth about what's happening in Ukraine. On Monday, Vice reported that a face swapping app was using push notifications to deliver news to people within Russia. And throughout Monday and Tuesday, at the urging of a Twitter account associating itself with Hacker Collective Anonymous that credited a Polish Twitter user with the idea, people have been posting Google restaurant reviews in Moscow and St. Petersburg with information about the events unfolding in Ukraine. Quote, now, leave 5-star reviews unless it's Russian state-owned, then feel free to leave 1-star ratings. The point is to push information to Russian civilian population being lied to by Putin. Grand Cafe Dr. Zhivago, a famous fine dining restaurant in Moscow with Kremlin views, saw an influx of Google reviews early on Tuesday. Some people attached pictures of destruction wrought by the Russian military. And now we're seeing some of these. So it's under the restaurant on Google restaurant reviews, if you go there. And then there's a picture of a bombed out building, and it says Russia is invading the Ukraine unprovoked, displacing and killing civilians and lying about it to you citizens. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones. The Grand Cafe, here's another one. Your government is lying to you under a restaurant review. So if you just want to know, is this restaurant good? Here's what you're getting. Your government is lying to you about the conflict in you. It's brilliant. People will always find a way. You get the point. You get what they're doing. They're sneaking in news, camouflaging them inside Google reviews. Okay, let's see here now. Let's see what we've missed. What is happening now? What is happening now? What is the new stuff that everybody's talking about? Wow, Silver Spring, Maryland is still trending. I wonder what's happening. An explosion that wrought catastrophic damage to a 4-story building has left over a dozen injured, 5 seriously in Silver Spring, Maryland. Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot of details on the story when we first covered it, but it appears to be a pretty serious situation there. Let's see, what else? What else can we touch on really quick? That doesn't have to be really quick, I guess. Vince McMahon is trending. WWE CEO Vince McMahon appears on the Pat McAfee show. Oh boy, Pat McAfee, man. He is a juggernaut. White Men Can't Jump is trending. Jack Harlow has been cast in a reboot of White Men Can't Jump, his first acting role. Do they really need to remake White Men Can't Jump? LSAT is trending because Tucker Carlson, and we're not going to talk about Tucker Carlson. The Weeknd is still trending. Allstate. Why is Allstate trending? Allstate. Something about Aaron Rodgers, or maybe, who knows? I don't know. It doesn't seem interesting. Ooh. Lori Lightfoot, the much maligned mayor of my fair city of Chicago. Lori Lightfoot allegedly had obscene tirade over Columbus statue. This according to a lawsuit. A lawsuit against the city by a former Park District attorney alleges that Mayor Lori Lightfoot berated staff in obscene terms over Columbus statue. Told them, my dick is bigger than yours and the Italians. I have the biggest dick in Chicago, Lightfoot said. She's a tough lady. Looks like Beetlejuice, though. I know. I call her Mayor Beetlejuice. You can't call a woman. Well, I just did. Okay, so here's something that's trending that I was going to get to, but we didn't get to because I figured why not. But it's been trending all afternoon, and it's still hanging tough here. Hamburger Helper is trending, and it's trending because failed NFL quarterback, now NFL sports show hot take aficionado Dan Orlovsky tweeted, what is one food or food item that you ate a lot as a kid that you will never eat again as an adult? And he says, Hamburger Helper. I happen to love Hamburger Helper. I happen to think that Cheeseburger Mac Hamburger Helper is one of the most delicious things. Hamburger Helper. I don't know why they call it Hamburger Helper. This stuff seems to do fine on its own. Name the movie. That was Eddie to Clark in Vacation. I don't know why they call this Hamburger Helper, Clark. It seems to do just fine on its own. Because he made it without using meat. He just... I love Hamburger Helper. What is one food or food item that you ate a lot as a kid that you will never eat as an adult? It ain't going to be Hamburger Helper, because any opportunity I get to have Hamburger Helper, I'm having Hamburger Helper. I love Cheeseburger Mac Hamburger Helper. That is good. What else? What else would there be? Do you know what the one thing that I drank or that I used a lot as a kid? Coca-Cola. Like fully leaded, all sugar Coca-Cola and Pepsi Cola, colas, non-diet sodas. As a kid, man, I pounded those things. If you used to buy those little 8 bottles, remember they were bottles and you could return them for deposit. How old are you? Pretty old. Yeah, you could return the bottles for deposit. Those like an 8-pack. I could drink an 8-pack in one day. Though, when I think about that, you pull those glass bottles out of the refrigerator and they're ice cold. Oh my God. Yeah, that would be it, Dan. That would be my offering. I don't drink fully leaded soda anymore. I can't. I had a Coke a couple of weeks ago, and I had a stomach ache for 24 hours. I was this is why I can't drink regular soda anymore. It just hits my stomach like razor blades. If you still have the urge to drink it, at least get the real sugar ones. No, I don't need it. They have the technology to make 0-calorie soda as delicious and more palatable to my now advanced, mature taste buds than regular Coke. Regular Coke, and especially the pure sugarcane ones, are just like, bah, my God, why don't you just pour a freaking bag of sugar in my mouth? It's too sweet. And as a kid, I used to just, I used to chug those down. I can't do those. So that would be it. That would be it for me. What is the one food or item that you ate a lot as a kid that you will never eat as an adult? That's it. It's regular Coke, regular Pepsi, regular Dr. Pepper, regular 7-Up. Can't do it. I can't do it. A couple of years ago, they morphed from the Diet Cola to the Zero Cola, which I guess is a different kind of sweetener. They upped their no-calorie or diet cola game significantly. It is just, that's so, I have never had a 0-calorie soda. It doesn't matter what it is. That wasn't just fantastic. They're all fantastic. They all taste like, are you sure there are no calories in this? This tastes very much like something that should have a whole lot of calories. It says it uses Splenda versus aspartame. Is that what we're talking about with 0-calorie stuff? That stuff is good. That stuff. If it's Splenda, then it turns out I like Splenda. Ross says the sodas used to taste better back then. I stand by that. It's not because my tater buds have matured or whatever. It's a real thing. You might be right. My stomach just can't. My taste buds might still enjoy it. My taste buds might be like, oh, that's really sugary. But it's my stomach that can't handle it. My stomach goes, oh, just aim a flamethrower down your throat. I get the worst. Like 3 sips of Coca-Cola, and my heartburn is just like, oh God. And then my stomach starts to hurt. It's terrible. Jeff says, only clear zeros for my kidneys. Kroger and Walmart both have a good selection of flavored sparkling waters too. Kroger, their generic Cola O brand, it's like OH, but it's their zero soda. Cola O is fantastic. Kroger's root beer O is so good. And their Dr. Pepper knockoff, which I'm not sure what that's called. Maybe it's just Dr. OH. Dr. O is fantastic. And then there's also a lemon lime, like a Sprite. Like there's a Sprite kind of O that Kroger offers. It is really good. Yeah, Kroger's got a great selection of the 0-calorie sodas. And they're always like 4 for $3. 4 2-liter bottles for $3. And then you look next to it and you see like the Coca-Cola 2 for $5. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go with the 4 for $3 as opposed to the 2 for $5 because there really isn't that much of a difference. It tastes the same to me. Byron says, I drink unsweetened iced tea all day. I have a Coke and will bounce off the walls for an hour, then feel like dog shit. Yeah. I can't do a regular Coke. All right, I guess that's it, folks. We're gonna cut it off here. There ain't nothing else happening, and I got stuff I gotta do today. I gotta try and pay bills and all that good stuff. Hold on, let me pull this up for you. There we go. Let's get into this. So I'm trying to pull up. I should have done this while I was small talking. Talk about Joshua James. Who is? Do I know who Joshua James is? Why should I be talking about Joshua James? Jeff, tell me. Why should I be talking about Joshua James? I'm Googling him right now. What did he do? Oh, he's an oath keeper who became the first person to. Is he a singer? Is this? He's got a Wikipedia page. Joshua James is an American singer-songwriter based out of American folk. Oath keeper. But then I got two Joshua James here. I got Joshua James, the oath keeper, and I got Joshua James, a singer-songwriter. Same person? They don't look like the same person. All right, let's see what this is. Okay, breaking, as they say. No, this ain't breaking. This is from yesterday. How did I not know about this? Let's see. An oath keeper who served as private security for right-wing figures around January 6th has pled guilty to seditious conspiracy and is cooperating with the Justice Department, becoming the first person charged with seditious conspiracy related to the attack to strike a plea deal. Joshua James, who led the Alabama chapter of the Oath Keepers, a far-right extremist group, also has pleaded guilty to obstruction of an official proceeding. He faces up to 9 years in prison and up to a $300,000 fine. This, according to the deal read aloud during Wednesday's hearing. All right, there you go. I'm sure there's more. I'm sure I have a take on it, but since I haven't read it, I'll save that for possibly later if it strikes me. You know, knowing me, you pick. That's right, Jeff. There you go. All right, folks, thank you very much. One more time, last appeal, because tomorrow's the last day. If you can help support the show, we'd appreciate that. Any way, shape, or form, tip the show. Treat me like your bartender. Have I been a good bartender? You just going to walk out of my bar? It's all right. If you can. Other than that, we'll be back tonight at 9 o'clock, or we'll be back before then, should something big happen. There's big breaking news, so be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to forward, like, help spread the word of the show, all of that good stuff. All right. Thank you all so much. Please enjoy the song stylings of America's favorite failed presidential assassin, John Hinckley, as he takes us out. It is another day. Well, that's a matter of perspective. Have you? Well, if it includes killing a president, yeah. Some medication, probably. Well, I think you have a trust fund. Got a wealthy family. Comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest Oh, A10 pilot, you're awesome. That's nice. There's nowhere for me to do this kind of talk radio. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. Always had to be on guard. That is understood. Understood now. On the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. All right, bye, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate you. Come back at 9 o'clock for Pugs and Parker, and keep it tuned here for any breaking live news. We'll jump right in and cover it. War coverage, whatever. Bye, everybody. Tip the show if you can. It would really help.